President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and German Chancellor Olaf Scholz took part on Tuesday in a session dubbed The Future of Energy as part of the activities of the UN Climate Change Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. Addressing participants, President al-Sisi said the session tackles an important issue, which is green hydrogen, reviewing green energy production's challenges which are facing developing nations, including Egypt.
President al-Sisi took part on Tuesday in a session dubbed The Future of Energy as part of activities of the UN Climate Change Conference in Sharm el-Sheikh. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz also took part in the session. Addressing participants, Sisi said the session tackles an important issue, which is green hydrogen. He reviewed challenges facing developing nations, including Egypt, in green energy production. President Sisi said green hydrogen is the most significant element in the path towards a green economy. He also said that within the first response to the initiative, a Sokhna station for green hydrogen was established in Egypt. President Sisi said that developing nations' share of green hydrogen projects is no more than a double of projects. He unveiled a new initiative, with Belgium naming it as the Global Forum for Renewable Hydrogen. He said the ongoing dialogue must come out with more understanding of the magnitude of the action to counter the negative impact of climate change. President Sisi said green hydrogen has become the most popular term in modern times and that Egypt is one of the pioneer countries to utilize its resources and capabilities to become a center for green hydrogen production. For his part, the German Chancellor said green hydrogen is one of the main aspects to back the industrial economy. He said it is also one of the pillars of energy transmission. Scholz said a local scheme is being adopted to generate electricity from green hydrogen, adding that Germany is cooperating with a number of countries to cement the ability to increase the use of green hydrogen on industrial level. For her part, the EU Commissioner taking part in the session said Russia is one of the largest gas exporters to Europe, and the Russia-Ukraine crisis has had an 80% impact on gas supplies to the EU. She said investments are being directed to infrastructure and that linking gas export resources needs joint action. Taking part in the roundtable discussion over the future of energy, Peru's Prime Minister said clean energy production must be accelerated to face climate change.
Earlier, President al-Sisi held talks with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Presidential spokesman Bassem Radi said President al-Sisi expressed hope for expanding cooperation with Germany and called on the country to contribute in the development drive in Egypt. Radi said the German Chancellor hailed German ties with Egypt and expressed appreciation for the Egyptian organization of the event. Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli participated on Tuesday in the roundtable session dubbed Climate Change and Sustainability in Weak Communities. That was headed by the Prime Ministers of Norway and Pakistan. During the session, Madbouli asserted that climate change crisis will have a negative impact on weak communities around the world, highlighting the importance of reducing the dangers through early warning mechanisms. He added that this could be achieved by making benefit of highly trained manpower, accumulating resources, building abilities and technical help, as well as national financial support. He also stressed on the importance of enhancing coordination and partnership among all effective parties concerned with climate in order to reduce the dangers of catastrophes. The UN Climate Conference, COP27, resumed its activities for the third consecutive day in the Red Sea resort of Sharm el-Sheikh on Tuesday. The day's activities witnessed a speech by the Greek Prime Minister, who described the climate action plan as comprehensive and expressed hope for more cooperation in the field of energy. He called on all countries to cooperate to face the negative impacts of climate change. And the Iraqi president took part in Tuesday's sessions. He stressed the urgent need for countries to present solutions to face the repercussions of climate change. The Iraqi president further suggested solutions to decrease carbon emissions and global warming. For his part, the Palestinian Prime Minister said Palestine is not the only country affected by climate change, adding that efforts must be intensified to reach solutions to the crisis. He said efforts by governments and peoples have a great impact on countering climate change. The hosts of the COP27 climate talks on Tuesday launched a global plan to help the world's poorest communities withstand the impacts of global warming.
COP27 President and Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry said on Tuesday that Sharm el-Sheikh adaptation agenda is a critical step at COP27. In a statement, Shoukry said the COP27 presidency has long articulated commitment to bringing together state and non-state actors to progress on adaptation and resilience for the 4 billion people that live in the most climate-vulnerable regions by 2030. For his part, UN Climate Chief Simon Style said that the Sharm el-Sheikh adaptation agenda firmly puts key human needs at its core, along with concrete, specific action on the ground to build resilience to climate change. And Akenawi Disina, president of the African Development Bank, said Africa receives just 3% of total climate finance globally and was being shortchanged. Unveiling the Sharm el-Sheikh adaptation agenda, the plan sets out 30 goals to hit by the end of the decade to enhance the lives of 4 billion people. The hope is that by setting targets across themes, including food and agriculture, water and nature, and coastlines and oceans, the public and private sectors will work with common goals and accelerate adaptation to change. Urgent targets highlighted by the COP27 presidency include moving the world to some more sustainable agricultural practices that could increase yield by 17% and cut emissions by 21%. Other goals include protecting 3 billion people from catastrophic weather events by installing early warning systems to help them prepare, investing $4 billion into mangrove restorations, which protect against flooding, and expanding clean cooking options to 2.4 billion people to reduce indoor air pollution. In total, the plan seeks to mobilize up to $300 billion a year from private and public investors. By contrast, the world's biggest multilateral development bank spent $17 billion on adaptation finance for poorer countries in 2021, according to a report by the lenders published last month. The majority of climate finance goes towards mitigation efforts such as reducing emissions, despite UN pleas that half of all funding should be channeled into helping vulnerable countries adapt. Among specific Africa-focused projects to be announced at COP27 will help meet the adaptation target are a plan to improve water resilience for 29 million people across 100 cities.
Nile TV senior correspondent Tagrit Hussein had the following interview with His Excellency Nasser Nuruddini, the Minister of Environment in the Republic of North Macedonia, on the sidelines of the COP27 conference.
We're still covering the activities of COP27 here at Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt on Nile TV International, and we're really honored and pleased to meet with His Excellency Mr. Nasser Nuruddini, Minister of Environment and Physical Planning in the Republic of North Macedonia. Your Excellency, thank you so much for joining Nile TV.
Thank you for having me, and let me first say thank you to our host country, Egypt, for hosting COP27 and the beautiful Sharm el-Sheikh.
Thank you, Your Excellency. We're talking the environment, definitely. We're talking fighting climate action. What is really interesting about this round of COP, it is that even the slogan says it all, from vision to implementation. So it's high time to concentrate on this sense of togetherness. Together, we can make the difference.
Absolutely. I mean, we're all talking about targets. We're all talking about the future. However, though, what we need to all realize is we're in this together. If we're not going to do our part, each one of us, irrelevant of how big the country is, how much in regards to greenhouse gas emissions we emit, we need to be in it together if we want to have a sustainable future for our future generations.
Yes, we're talking the future generations, and we're definitely here for tomorrow. We can see lots of youth who are today playing a very important role vis-a-vis fighting climate change. Lots of youth ambassadors in the field of climate are here. Our sense of partnership definitely extends in more than one file, Your Excellency.
Absolutely. I mean, it's great to see the youth here. I mean, they're here to fight for their future. And we are here, and we should be thinking about not only our present, but we should be thinking about their future. Unfortunately, we're already seeing the effects of climate change. We've got wildfires across the world. We got flash floods happening everywhere. And these will continue happening more frequently in the future, affecting them, the youth that are here today, shouting and being loud for their own future. And I think it's our responsibility, each one of us who are here, we're actually making these promises. We go back home, we actually implement them. We shouldn't only be using the big words, the big promises on the stage. When we go back home, we need to implement these ideas, the laws, the legislation, and try and make a more sustainable future and invest in adaptation, because unfortunately we have to adapt to the new reality.
Yes, Your Excellency, talking climate change is definitely going to where we will have this sense of action on the ground. We have climate finance provided, and this is a very important issue and a file, I guess, on the table here at COP27.
Absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's all about financing. Yesterday, already at the opening ceremony, it was mentioned by the President of Egypt. It was mentioned by Mr. Al Gore as well. Financing is the key. And we have to give access, or the international financial institutions need to try and give cheaper financing to the private sector to invest in renewable energy. Because the majority of investments when it comes to renewable energy is usually done by the private sector. And it has to be done together, hand in hand with the governments. In this instance, financing is key if we want to have more investments in renewable energy.
Definitely, it is the future. At COP27, as I said, it is this sense of togetherness that will make us actually leap forward and achieve more results. Your Excellency, talking implementation, and we're always talking about the mechanisms after such huge conferences and gatherings, after going back home. Following up mechanism is very important.
Absolutely. I think what is happening, and this is my third COP, so I've been to 3 COPs until now. And what we need to think about is having the in-between part. So 6 months after this, we should all try and sit down and see how much we've implemented from that. As I said earlier, it's not just about promising something now, but checking actually whether 6 months later we've implemented what we've promised. And the mechanism is going to have to be, when it comes to financing and creating regional strategies. So for example, in our country, in the Western Balkans, it's important that we have a regional strategy when it comes to having the energy policy, the energy strategy, and the whole adaptation in regards to climate change. Thereby, it is important that we do a little in-between check between this COP and COP28, which is going to take place in the UAE. That we actually, in 6 months' time, see what we've implemented, and if we haven't, that we make sure we do it before the next COP.
Yes, attending 3 COPs before, how far do you see COP27 special and different from the previous COPs?
I think now we have, I mean, in the previous COPs there were certain agreements, certain decisions being made. I think we all know that we're trying to keep the 1.5 degree, that's the idea by that's the idea for the future. We don't want to go above that. This one is actually speaking about the real point. How do we achieve that? Financing. We're all speaking about the financing. This COP is very important in regards to that, and I hope we can get the large countries, the developed countries, to agree, and for the international financial institutions to help with the financing when it comes to implementing these ideas and these promises we're making.
Yes, Egypt, this round COP27 is speaking also the voice of Africa. So Africans are pinning high hopes on COP27. It's very important to work together for action vis-à-vis climate change in Africa.
Absolutely. I mean, we're speaking about a continent, and Egypt is doing an amazing job in representing the continent of Africa. We know that Africa is very affected by climate change, and we're seeing also the movement and the migration of people due to the daily elements missing, such as clean drinking water or running water at all. So these are actually points which we all need to address. The world has become so small. We can't just be thinking about our own little world where we live. For example, in the Republic of North Macedonia, we have wonderful mountains, we have a lot of water, although that is also changing. We have to be considerate about everything else, and I think Egypt is doing an amazing job representing the whole continent here and speaking about the issues that Africa is facing. And there are some serious challenges that Africa is facing, and they need to be addressed. And I think it's not just Africa, the whole world needs to actually look at the challenges that Africa is facing now. And this COP is highlighting the challenges that Africa is facing right now.
Yes, COP27 happening in Egypt is in fact an achievement, and I would love to know more about your impressions, Excellency, as far as the preparation, the organization, the sessions, the roundtables that had started on the sidelines. How do you see all that?
Well, first of all, I mean, the first impression you get is you come to Sharm el-Sheikh, it's beautiful, it's an amazing place.
Charming, charm.
It's charming, exactly. It's very charming indeed.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, of course, the organization is amazing. It's great. There's specific discussions on certain roundtables, whether we're speaking about the just transition or the financing we're speaking about earlier. It's also great to hear the world leaders speak about their ambitions and what they're going to do in regards to climate change and the NDC. Everything's going really well. I think the more people are coming, to what I'm hearing. The first couple of days is the Leaders Summit, and then the more youth, more civil societies, NGOs are going to be joining, which is going to create even more bigger buzz around this COP.
Yes, definitely. A final message, Your Excellency, through Nile TV International, and also maybe to fellow countrymen in North Macedonia watching us right now. What would you tell them?
The final message is this. We're all in this together. We all have to do our part. And we, the Republic of North Macedonia, we are going to do our part. We've set a very high ambition of lowering our greenhouse gas emissions, and we will keep our word, and we hope that all the other countries will do the same.
Yes, definitely. Your Excellency, Mr. Nasser Nordini, Minister of Environment and Physical Planning in North Macedonia, thank you so much for joining Nile TV International exclusively. It has always been a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Dr. Tawhid. It's been a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for giving the opportunity to speak to you.
Thank you so much. And dear viewers, we're still at Charming Sharm, covering here all the activities of COP27. More to come on Nile TV International. Stay tuned.